All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Renatus Jam. My name is Jay Stark. Truly my pleasure to be back with you live in the studio, and joining me as always is my fearless co-host,
Mr. Matt Snyder.
Mr. Matt Snyder, the fearless co-host.
Fear without fear.
Yeah, the fearful one is not here.
Empty chair.
Empty chair. We could pull the Clint Eastwood and say, "Hey, let me tell you all about."
And then you'd have to explain Clint Eastwood to everybody.
That's the guy who's scared to be our co-host. That's his chair.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
He's terrified.
He's terrified.
He's terrified.
Petrified.
Of what I might say.
No, probably not. Probably not of what you might say. But
I'm terrified of what I might say.
He's our compliance guy. That makes sense.
It is scary.
I am super excited to be back with you guys live in the studio. We had a week off or was it 2 weeks off? I think we took 2 weeks off.
We took 2 weeks off, yeah.
Because 2 weeks ago was the day we left for the Dominican Republic.
Yep.
Now, we didn't leave until later in the day. That's why I thought maybe we'd be able to slip the podcast in, but the day just got away from us.
You know how those days go when you've got to be on a plane that evening and you're going to be leaving for a week. There's a million and one like last minute items that need to be taken care of.
And you're going international, so you know there's not like store down the street that you're going to be able to pick something up. And so you got to make sure that you're prepared for all the contingencies.
You do.
But Woody has kind of inspired me.
Oh yeah?
I am going to learn how to live out of a carry-on.
Oh, I so agree with this. I mean, funny enough though, that's normally what I do.
Right.
And this time I brought a checked bag, and it was so nice. So because I had all of the things that I wanted. Like I'm like, I don't think I'll need that, but you know what? Why not? Right? Like,
I'm going on a trip here in November, and I am going to try to live out of a carry-on.
Yeah, it's. Oh yes, yeah. Especially for that trip, like because you guys are bouncing around so much.
We are. We're going to be all over the place.
And so I would try to do the same because having a checked bag is kind of cumbersome. Like especially when you're getting on multiple planes.
Right.
So I mean, normally it's the way I do it. I prefer to do it that way. I have just a bag, or it's a small suitcase, but I have a suitcase, and that's what I do.
Yep. Yeah, take that in a backpack. Good to go.
Yeah, that in a backpack, and you jump on a plane and
go.
So
before we start talking more about international travel,
yes,
and the joys thereof, especially when you go with a couple hundred of your closest friends,
I
would feel absolutely remiss if we did not talk about the East-West Conference.
That's right, the showdown.
The Clash of Titans.
The Clash of Titans.
We, of course, are making reference to this year's East and West regional conferences.
Yep.
Rather than doing a slug of conferences all over the country, this year we've decided to condense it down to being only two.
I'm happy. It's so much easier this way.
It is, and I think the quality of the content is going to be higher, and it will be a little bit more difficult for people to travel to one of those conferences. However, there are only two. So hopefully you guys can start making plans now. Get your tickets booked now. Get your rooms booked now for wherever you're going to attend. The two conferences are going to be in Salt Lake City, and the other one will be in Chicago. Mm-hmm. So if you are east of the Mississippi, we encourage you to go to the Chicago conference. If you're west of the Mississippi, come to the Salt Lake conference. The dates on those are going to be the Salt Lake Regional, the West Conference, will be the 14th and 15th of November. Mm-hmm. The East Conference in Chicago will be the 22nd, 23rd. Now, I'm gonna double check that date now that I've said it out loud to you, and I'm right. I am right. So there we go. The West Conference in Salt Lake City will be the 14th and 15th of November. I almost said September. Of November. And then the East Conference in Chicago will be the 22nd and 23rd of November, which is not Thanksgiving week. It's the week before Thanksgiving.
Yes, which is great.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if you start making plans now, you will not be disappointed. The content that's going to be delivered at these two conferences is going to be incredible. The award ceremony, everything else that is being prepared. I know that Bob is pulling out all the stops because there's only the two regional conferences this year. He's pulling out all the stops. It's going to be a phenomenal opportunity. So make sure that you tune in. Make sure that you're there. Plan on it right now.
Ditto that.
Ditto that.
Be there.
be there.
It's the next thing you don't want to miss.
That's true.
You know?
Now let's start talking about the last thing that
you don't want to miss.
Oh man, they didn't want to miss. I tell you what, the Dominican Republic was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's incredible.
I feel spoiled that every year we get such amazing locations, and this year did not disappoint. The weather was beautiful. We got one rainstorm. It rained one morning while we were there.
Oh, yeah. And 6:30.
6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
The lightning and the thunder clapped so loud that it rattled the building. It had to have woken everybody up.
Yeah, it kicked my AC off. It like turned off the AC. I don't know why, but I had to turn it back on. So yeah, it hit. Well, that lightning strike. I mean, everybody who was there will tell you that they all know. I mean, I was asleep, but it didn't matter. That thing. That was loud. That was like it felt like, or it sounded like, there was a cloud 30 feet above the building, and lightning struck or thunder struck.
I don't know what it is. When I lived in Ohio, we used to get loud thunder like that.
Yeah.
And I haven't really experienced it very much since I've been in Utah. In Ohio, it was a pretty regular thing.
Right.
You would get thunder that would shake your house. And that was pretty regular. That happened all the time.
We're spoiled. We have really good weather. Like as far as weather events go, because I mean, I don't know how much you've seen. Like I see a lot of twisters, like
the movie.
Well, like real ones on YouTube and stuff. The algorithm sends me all these twisters.
Gotcha.
And I see trucks get scooped up and people that are in them. I got a video I got to send you. Actually, it's insane. But like, these storm chasers chasing storms and stuff. But like, it'll mow down houses and all sorts of stuff. And then I've seen, in Florida, a hurricane. The what do they call it? The storm surge. The water comes in so high, it took the house away. It was like 15 feet deep. I've never seen anything like it. But all these things, they happen, and I feel like they happen in the Midwest and then in the Southeast. And
of course, we have earthquakes out here. So, granted, Utah doesn't have many, but can't say the number 0 because you and I have both lived through one here.
We had one. Supposedly there's the big one. Yeah, it was 4 years ago, but supposedly the big one's coming. Like
it's like 5,000 years overdue or something.
I don't know what it's something like that. I think it's like 100 years overdue. But like I've been told my whole life that basically
the big one is coming.
It's going to level this whole place. And
so I want to insert a quick disclaimer in here, which is that no storms were harmed in the making of this film.
Yeah.
that we did not hurt any storms, and we didn't even make any storms cry. So there's that.
Isn't that what rain is?
No, that's the storm laughing.
We should just start doing disclaimers that are like, Nike shoes were worn in the making of this podcast.
That is accurate.
Yep.
Unless Aaron's wearing Nike. Is Aaron wearing Nike?
He wouldn't. I'm just kidding. I don't have anything against Nike.
Flip-flops.
Flip-flops. There we go.
Yeah, what's up?
All right. So
anyway.
Here's the deal. I want to walk through kind of a little bit of a play-by-play, because there were a couple of moments that are just standout at the Leaders Retreat that I want to highlight, I want to talk about. And the first thing that I need to mention was the people. It was so incredible to be able to spend that much time with so many people that I don't get to see as often as I would like.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't interact with as often as I would like.
Yeah.
And as we were sitting there, I mean, it could be the most chill situation, sitting out on the beach, sitting by the pool, whatever. Somebody walks up, you just start a conversation, and then you get to hear their stories. You get to hear about them. For me, it was so phenomenal to see so many people from all over the country. I'd be remiss if I tried to go through a list of all the people that it was so great to see. But man, there were so many hugs. There was laughter. There was clapping. There were tears. It was such a phenomenal opportunity to connect with the family from all over. I feel like that is my favorite part of the Leaders Retreat this year.
Agreed. I totally agree. Getting to meet people face to face for the first time, or seeing the people that I've interacted with either through the phone or email or any of that stuff, it was really neat, and it was really cool to see especially to talk to people and get to hear about what they're doing. You
Yeah.
know, in real estate and or with marketing. We're not a Saladio something, right? Like there's just a lot of people that I spoke with that had really good things to say. So
All right.
it was awesome.
Yeah, I loved it, and I loved catching up with people.
Me
You
too.
know, it's always fun to see people that have been making progress in their lives. You know, we had that workout on the beach, which was just gorgeous with Ron Williams, and it was fun to see how many people were there, were committed to their health, were, you know, even while they're down at this all expense paid, or not all expense paid. What's the word I'm looking for?
All inclusive.
All inclusive resort.
All
and-
expenses paid by you.
by you. Disclaimer: our expenses were not used in the making of that retreat. That's not true either. But anyway, the whole point of the story is that it was so phenomenal to be able to work out with Ron on the beach, and it was a gorgeous morning, absolutely beautiful, crystal clear skies. And to have individuals out there all laughing, supporting one another, having a good time as Ron was going through the workout. It was so funny because he helped to reframe certain things. He's like, everybody thinks that if you do push-ups off your knees, these are girl push-ups. He's like, these aren't girl push-ups. They're just modified push-ups. And sometimes we have to modify things based on what we're able to do. And then, you know, he gets in and starts doing push-ups. And of course, Ron doesn't modify his push-up at all. He's phenomenally strong, but it was so much fun to be there and to have everybody laughing together, have everybody sweating together. Of course, that was basically everywhere in the DR.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough to tell whether or not it was sweat or just condensation on your face because that happened too. It was so humid.
Oh man,
Unreal.
so humid,
Yeah.
so humid. But it was a phenomenal opportunity. I loved, you know, from the very beginning of the welcome. Actually, as soon as we got to the resort, we started being able to see people interact with individuals that had gotten there before us and talk about, you know, the horror stories of traveling down to the DR, which, you know, there weren't any. It was just, you know, we had to go over a red-eye flight, which is never fun, but it was still
That is
fun.
horrific.
But if you had to take a red-eye flight somewhere in the world, let it be the DR, right?
Agreed.
It
Yep.
was, yeah, gorgeous. But then being able to catch up with individuals from the kickoff of the event at the welcome reception, it was so much fun to see everybody decked out in white and just having a good time.
Yeah. Yeah, it was fun. Let alone, well, maybe you're going to get to it. The, what do we call it?
Oh, you're about to jump on guns here. You're going to jump the gun.
Well,
Don't jump the gun.
take it away, Jay.
All right. So here's the deal. At the welcome reception, it was so cool to be able to introduce Patrick Munson to our group for the very first time.
Mm-hmm.
So Patrick and his wife Sky showed up, and we were taking them around and introducing them to different groups of individuals. I was going around to the tables. I'm like, hey, everybody, say hi to Patrick. And it was just so much fun. People were so enthused to be there, so energized, and it was a perfect way to kick off the event. But the next day, we had the big group training. Is that what you were about to go to?
No.
Oh.
The mastermind that we did. So, yeah.
I was kind of going chronologically. We can talk about that, though.
Yeah.
On Sunday afternoon, we did a 4-hour mastermind out on the beach.
Yeah, that was so good.
That was awesome.
I feel like probably the best event in the whole leaders retreat. I think.
You know what? It was awesome. It was so much fun to be there and to be so relaxed in such a large group of people.
Yep.
You know, our intent was to have people kind of come and go, right? We thought, hey, we'll make ourselves available. Anybody want to walk up, we'll talk, we'll chat. They'll leave, another group will come, whatever. And it turns out that we had people there all 4 hours.
Yeah. Yeah. It was great, though, because the whole group of people showed up and then asked questions. And we had a real mastermind, a real discussion like, hey, what do you think if we did this?
Oh, yeah.
You know, what do you think if we headed in this direction? Or what do you think about this idea?
So
and
great.
And the vice versa came to us. Like, where people were asking the same, hey, like, what if we did that? Or whatever. You know, there was a lot of exchanging of ideas.
And the best part is we were challenging thoughts. We were not There was no like emotional or ego attached to any of the ideas.
Yeah.
And so as we were challenging these ideas, people were like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Or, oh no, I don't really love that idea. And here's why.
Yep.
And it's like, that immediacy of feedback is so valuable.
Yeah.
You know, being able to sit there, and especially for people who don't necessarily get the opportunity to brainstorm with Bob very often, they were able to sit there and pick his brain, ask him all of these questions and say, hey, have you thought about this? And when he says, actually, we've been thinking about that for a long time. Here's the reason why we haven't gone that direction, or here's the reason why we're already moving that direction. We're just not there yet, or whatever. It was so cool. And to hear people's thought processes behind their questions, that was awesome, because they got a chance to express, hey, this is why I'm concerned about this one thing, or this is what I think individuals are concerned about. And we could just take the ball right from that situation and move forward with them.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yeah, me too.
Not to mention, I love teasing Matt for the amount of vacation food that Matt was partaking of.
Look, vacation Matt eats 5,000 calories a day. Normal day Matt does not.
You know what? I'm glad that you were able to partake.
Yeah, you know, some people cut loose when they go to all-inclusive resort, especially with the drinks. You know, they drink the whole time they're there. They really, you know, like cut loose. For me, you know, I don't eat a lot of, my diet's really good. Like I don't eat a lot of junk. So, you know, we're on vacation, man. Yeah. Vacation Matt does what he wants. That's right.
Oh,
it was
man.
fun. It was good. All inclusive,
it was,
like as much food as I wanted.
It's so fun.
It's great.
When you see somebody who has created a relationship with the hotel staff, and they start doing special favors for them.
Well, a relationship, you know, you keep slipping them 5s and 10s, and they'll do whatever you want. Like,
well,
you want, Mr. Snyder, you want another plate of donuts? Okay.
Why, yes, I would. Thank you, Javier.
Right? Yeah.
It was so funny, and we're sitting there, and this waiter kept coming up to Matt with plates of food, plate of food. And Matt's like, "Thank you," and just. Oh,
he was awesome.
So funny.
Yeah, you know, I love those all-inclusive resorts. A lot of those people, you know, we were told they work like 24 days out of the month.
24 days on, 6 days off.
And they're working long shifts, and they work for tips, essentially. I mean, they make like $300 a month. When I found that out, I started tipping everybody. I was like, you know, this is crazy. Like these people, that's their livelihood's really coming from the tips, because what they make. My understanding is the average apartment rent in the area that they would stay, which is outside Punta Cana, it's like 45 minutes outside, was $200 a month. So you know they've got $100 a month to like live off of as far as food and, you know, clothes and transportation,
and there are 93 resorts in Punta Cana, and those 93 resorts employ somewhere in the area of 100,000 people.
Yep.
There are only 40,000 people that actually live in the province, in the state that Punta Cana exists in.
And I don't know if you noticed, but as I was talking to our one of our taxi drivers. Because I was seeing Porsches and Mercedes-Benz, like we're talking really nice, Porsche 911 or something. I'm like, what the heck? Like, you know, it's like Nissan, it's like 20-year-old Sentra, Toyota Corolla,
missing a door, or
missing a door,
doors,
old truck, and then, you know, brand new Mercedes-Benz SUV, like, you know, GLE something AMG, and I'm like, the heck? And yeah, the people who live in Punta Cana are business people from the United States and Europe that have retired there or own businesses there. And so a lot of those 40,000 aren't even locals.
Right.
So anyways, my point being is, you know, I started to tip a lot. And I noticed that as I tipped a lot, the service went from great to even better. So I was getting some special attention. So that was great.
It was really revelatory because that means that 60,000 people are shipped in or travel in from other provinces, other states.
Every morning.
Either every morning or on a 24-day swing.
Yeah.
So for 6 days of the month, they go home. And then for 24 days, they're back away from their family. So one of the guides that we had on the bus up to the big group excursion, he actually lived on the other side of the DR. And so 6 days out of the month, he went home.
Oh, wow.
And then he would come back to Punta Cana and work for 24 days.
Crazy.
And it's just their style. And, you know, it was really, really interesting. But back to the event that we had there and back to the mastermind, it was so great to be able to sit and just really think out loud with a group of people that love Saladillo, love Renatus as much as we do, and are looking to help it succeed like we are.
Yeah.
And it was phenomenal to have that interaction for sure. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I really wanted to share, backing up a little bit in the timeline, was going back to the big group training.
Yeah, that was cool.
You know, we had the first opportunity to hear Pierce Woodward present, and his information was so good. He gave actionable steps that everybody could take today on being able to start increasing their influence online and garnering a bigger warm market online.
Uh-huh.
And that was amazing to see. The part that absolutely blew me away was watching Woody Woodward demonstrate drive in action. Mm-hmm. So he did that exercise where we literally took the entire group, broke it up into 5 different groups, one for each drive, DRIVE, and then he gave each drive each group a product to sell to a different group. Right. So the directors had to sell to the executives, the relators had to sell to the intellectuals, you know, that kind of thing. And even knowing, you know, what group was selling which product and knowing who their target audience was, there was still so much opportunity for learning and growth in that demonstration. It highlighted the need for individuals to really understand Drive better and understand how they can leverage Drive to speak to their audiences better.
Totally is. If you weren't there, I wish you could see it just because you would understand the gaps that I think a lot of people have. I mean, when you've got a validator trying to sell to an executive and they're selling this pretty much the way that a validator would.
Even though they know
be sold.
They're talking to executives.
Yeah, it's so funny. Anyways, there's a huge place, I think, in the marketplace for Drive as far as sales go and understanding what people's buying motivators are. Because if you're not hitting those buying motivators, then they're not going to buy. You're not answering those questions in their head. Right. So, yeah.
Yeah, it was super powerful, and I love the demonstration. I love the opportunity for people to really see Drive in action and to go, oh, I get where I've been. You know, it was funny because three of the Drive types never asked for the sale.
Yeah.
2 did.
I don't remember which ones were the ones, do you?
Executives did, and I think it was intellectuals did. Or maybe it was validators. Now I can't remember.
Yeah, I don't think intellectuals did.
Yeah, it might have been validators. The intellectuals might have explained it to death.
Probably. They do that, those dirty badgers.
It says the intellectual in the conversation.
Oh, I explain things to death.
It was amazing to see the Drive in action and to see individuals having those moments of, oh, I get it.
Yep.
And that was fun. And it was hilarious because, you know, the validators, every time one of them made a good comment or a good point, they're all high-fiving each other. They're like, hey, great job, man. That was a great comment. The relators, it took the relators as long to walk around the room as it took them to actually present. Like, they were just so engaged in conversations, just so happy to be there. It was hilarious to see all of this happen all at once, and such an amazing opportunity to learn. So
absolutely, it was really neat.
Yeah,
great experience, and I was surprised at how small the intellectual group was. It was like all these groups.
Really, that surprised you? Really?
Yeah, it did. I thought there was still even that it wouldn't be that small, but it was like.
And see, I was surprised
like
it was
10
as
people.
big as it was. You know, we have 200 plus people in the room with us.
Yeah.
10 people are intellectuals. It was like, okay.
Yeah.
I would have thought less, but
Really? Yeah. I don't know. And it was probably more like 12 people.
oh, I don't know. It was not
being accuracy.
It was not of being.
Being a
Thank
thing.
you, my intellectual co-founder,
It's
co-host,
important. It's
co-founder.
important to be accurate.
Yeah, it is important to be accurate. So, yeah, there was like 10 or 12 people. 8 of them, I don't know, 2 people were there as intellectuals.
Something like
No intellectuals were harmed in the making of this podcast.
that's not true.
What?
I'm just kidding. I don't know.
You don't know.
I just like I like this disclaimer route we're on.
Nice.
We got to disclaim everything.
There we go. So then, you know, we talked a little bit about what we did on Sunday afternoon. It was awesome to have Ron Williams there. He did a non-denominational worship service Sunday morning out on the beach, which was incredible. But then we had our big group excursion. And you know what the worst part about the big group excursion was?
What?
We only had 110 tickets.
Oh, yeah.
So we had
Half the group.
200 plus people there with us. We could only take half. That was the worst part. And yet it was still a riot. We had so much fun going ziplining together, being able to go to the monkey land together, which sounds kind of goofy. Oh, yeah, you get to interact with monkeys. But man, it was so much fun having those monkeys bounce all over the place, just jumping.
Oh yeah, it's cool. They're eating out of your hand. You're feeding them. They're playing. They're jumping from my shoulder to your shoulder.
Man.
Like it was cool.
Lisa Ritchie she was wearing a monkey coat at one point.
Oh, for real.
I mean, she didn't even have any food with her, and the monkeys were still jumping on her. Are you pulling up the picture?
I am.
This is and Lisa, we love you. So here we go. Oh, pull it backwards. Pull it backwards.
Focus?
Maybe it'll focus. Maybe.
All right.
You
You know what I'm gonna do?
Just hold it up.
Just Teams it to me.
I'm gonna Teams it to Aaron.
There we go.
I think that's the move. Anyway,
we'll keep talking about it because in this little enclosure, you walk in there and there's like 25 or 30 monkeys. A bunch of them had babies that they were carrying around on their backs with them, which was a lot of fun to see. And the way those mamas handle babies, man, they were like, "Hey, you do what you're told," kind of thing. It was so funny. But I check out this picture. The monkeys, for whatever reason, absolutely loved Lisa.
they did.
And her expression is priceless.
She was so unsure about this to begin with.
Oh, man.
And then when we walk in the monkey cage or enclosure, and one jumps on her, and her face was hilarious. It was so awesome.
Funny.
But like by the end, I mean, monkeys crawling all over, and she's feeding them and stuff.
They
and
were
good,
under her feet, all over her, climbing up and down her.
I had such a great time hanging out with her, getting to know her better, and going to Monkeyland with Lisa. She's awesome.
She was, and she was such a good sport about it. Had so much fun while we were there. But it was so cool. So cool to be able to interact with these monkeys because they only weighed like 2 pounds. And so they would just jump and jump and jump. And then they'd like every once in a while they'd use you as a bridge. And so they would just run over the top of you. And so much fun.
It was cool. It really was a cooler experience than you'd think you would have, I guess.
Yeah.
You know? So.
And then we went to Maria's house for lunch, which was really just this cool little plantation farm thing.
Yeah, but the food was really good.
Oh, the food was
It was just,
great.
Rice, beans, chicken, which is my favorite, but
right?
I love that. Like, I was so there for it.
Then they had these little, like, fried plantains. They were just real little.
Yeah.
Oh, man, those things were so good.
It was.
So
and cocoa.
Good. Oh, and then they did this little demonstration where they brought out a cocoa pod. And they cracked it open, and they had everybody put a cocoa seed in their mouth, and you suck on it. It's kind of got this sweet, tarty flavor. But then the guy's like, whatever you do, don't bite into it because you won't like it. And so, of course, everybody bites into it. It tastes nasty. But you open it up and you look at it, and cocoa is actually purple, which I didn't know. Who would have known that cocoa is purple in its seed form?
Yeah.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a good experience.
It was a great experience.
But also fun to just be able to bus in with 110 of your favorite people.
That's just it. I mean, we got to spend 45 minutes each way on the bus with a bunch of people who were all having a good time, all interacting together, all asking questions. And man, it was just, it was so fun.
So if you missed it, we hope to see you on the next one. I mean, these trips are really cool.
There's nothing quite like it. The National Conference, again, is a unique event in that you're going to get unprecedented training with access to the best content, the best tools available. At the Leaders Retreat, it's just unprecedented access to the leaders.
It is.
And being able to take the time where you can sit down and ask them any question you want. You can literally talk to them about, all of the experiences led up to where they are, where they started, why they got started. And being able to have that it was really okay. I'm gonna tell you an experience that we had with Sky Munson. So Sky is Patrick's wife. Patrick is the new instructor that we were able to promote and talk about. And Sky was there, and Sky is a relator. And Sky literally said, Jay, I was blown away with the number of times that all I had to do was ask somebody, hey, tell me your story, and they would. She's like, I feel like I now understand my purpose, which is to get to know people better. I want to know people's stories.
That's awesome.
And I was just like, man, you are in the right place.
Yeah, you are.
This is the right place to get to know people's stories because we love to tell stories.
Yeah, we sure do.
Man, it was so cool. And having Patrick and Sky there was a ton of fun, but having the entire family show up and love on one another and really, really build that family and community together, there's just nothing quite like it.
There's not. Be there at the next one.
Be there at the next one. And get scuba certified. Come scuba with us.
Yeah, do that too.
We should do that as the big group excursion. We should go scuba diving.
That would be really cool. The logistics of that would be kind of difficult.
That would be nuts, but it would be fun to try.
Oh man, would that be cool though?
It would be super fun.
I can't imagine being down there with 110 people.
Imagine that picture.
Yeah, that's a group photo.
You're down 30, 40 feet underwater and you get 110 people all floating there. Hey.
That's cool.
Oh man, so cool. I want to express my appreciation for everybody who made the sacrifice to be at the Leaders Retreat. I heard nothing but great commentary, great comments from individuals that were there, who were sharing, who were engaged and just loving the event. It was so awesome.
It was.
So great.
Let's do it again next year.
That sounds like a plan. I'm in.
Come.
Be there with us. Don't miss the opportunity to hang out with us and the entire family in what is arguably the most beautiful place in the world.
Arguably. There's some beautiful places.
There are some beautiful places.
I think it's like a 6-way tie between all the beautiful places I've been. So there's a lot of them.
I meant the Leaders Retreat. I meant with the family. I didn't mean the actual location.
I was thinking Costa Rica with the Leaders Retreat.
Costa Rica was beautiful. Panama was beautiful.
Yeah. Cancun is beautiful.
Cancun is gorgeous.
I love Cancun.
I do too. They need some better diving in Cancun.
They do. It's just in cenotes, not in the ocean.
Oh, we got to try that sometime.
Yeah.
All right, before Matt and I get too far off the beaten path here, I just want to express my appreciation for everybody who came, and I want to look forward to everybody who's already starting to make a plan to be with us at the East-West conferences coming up in November. Be there.
Salt Lake or Chicago. Pick
Salt
one.
Lake or Chicago. Pick one. Be there. Pick both. Come to both.
Yeah.
You won't regret it. Okay. Thanks for being with us. We will be back next Wednesday, and we have a featured guest that will be here with us next Wednesday in studio. So make sure you tune in. You're not going to want to miss that one. Between now and then, thanks for being with us. Don't forget the reason why Renatus rocks is because of the people who are associated with us, which includes each and every one of you. Thanks, everybody. Renatus rocks.